Grand Rising, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great start to your day. Happy Tuesday, right? Yeah, I believe so. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Alrighty, guys, another great day, another great topic. Now, I did cover this story on the Beagle side of things a few months ago. There is a short update, but I don't think I've covered it over here before, so I wanted to do the update while also giving you guys the story as well. Okay. Couple announcements. Also, remember, we do have the Royal Lock Box that will be on Saturday. We are still looking for more letters. If you are someone that needs to submit a letter, just submit to savagerealtyent@gmail.com to get your letter onto this week's show. Okay. It will be Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, okay? This Saturday. Alrighty, guys, let's get into it. I will miss Saturday's show, Savvy. I got work, mandatory. Are you going to miss the show? That sucks. Work on a Saturday is always crazy. I never liked that. Well, have a good day on Saturday. You can watch the replay. Alrighty. Now, this case here, guys, it's kind of sickening, to be honest with you. It's a young girl who she had a dream of becoming a police officer, but she did not know that dream will be stopped and blocked, allegedly, by a police officer. Okay. So Sandra is her name. Give me 1 second. Sandra Birchmore is her name. And she had dreamed of becoming a police officer. And at the age of 33, she was pregnant. And she was found to have a strap around her neck, and authorities did rule her death to be a self-deletion. But the autopsy and everything surrounding her did not point to self-deletion. It pointed to a homicide. And that is what we're going to get into today. Okay, so at the age of 12 years old, Sandra, she had decided that she wanted to join the Explorers program. Now, if you don't know what the Explorers program is basically where teenagers can go to your local police departments, and they basically will be a part of the program to learn about becoming a part of law enforcement. Now, at the age of 15, she had met a then officer who was 27, okay? This man here that I just now showed you guys, he was 27 at the time where Sandra had met him, okay? And these two had, began to have communications, texting back and forth and things of that nature. Now, there was some text that did show that he did reminisce at some point in time about getting her pregnant, as well as him pushing his own sadistic likings and his cravings on her, i.e., he was interested in child play in the bedroom, weird behavior. He also was interested in some form of forced behavior in the bedroom as well. He was interested in that. So what he did was he began to groom Sandra, gain her trust. They began to text. They were texting while he was at work. He would even meet her at parking lots, and they would have intercourse and things of that nature. This is all while she was a teenager. All this started when she first had joined the Explorers program. Okay, so they begin to text. They begin to talk and things of that nature. He's able to convince her to be a part of his whatever he had going on. He's also married, or was also married, and have children. Okay. Now, the conversations had included some form of violent sexual intercourse and fantasies, choking and role playing, as well as orders from him to delete the messages that the two had together. Now, this man had often met her while he was on duty, when he was on break, when he was supposed to be doing different things. While holding the badge, he was actually somewhere hiding around with her. Now, in December of 2020, Sandra had told Farwell that she was in fact pregnant. Now, keep in mind, he had already begun to groom her and make her believe that if she became pregnant, then he would be accepting of it. Well, not so much. His response was, "I wish you die." Now, despite the abuse, Sandra had remained in contact with him, and many do say that there's possibly was some form of trauma bond that was there, which allowed her to trust him, even though she knew wrongdoing was happening. Okay. And he felt threatened when she told him that she was pregnant. He did not like it at all. He, felt as though that this pregnancy can ruin his family because I stated earlier, he's married with children. Okay. Not only could this mess up his marriage, but also mess up his career because he knew he'd been dealing with her inappropriately since the age of 12. Okay. So on January 20th of 2021, Sandra's friend had called the police department where this man worked at, which is the Stoughton Police Department. Okay. And this friend went to his higher ups and supervisors and things of that nature to make them aware that there was an inappropriate relationship going on between these two. Now, you would think that in today's society that police officers would know that this is wrongdoing and they should not be using the blue wall of silence, because that's exactly what you guys did. You guys used the blue wall of silence to protect you, because instead of you guys opening up an investigation, you basically took it to the officer that was being accused and you made him aware about the reports, never opening up a full throttle investigation into why there's a child who was a part of the Explorers program who was having a relationship with one of your officers. Instead, you guys whispered about it and things of that nature. Tried to sweep it under so that no one would know. Okay? Now, to add a little bit of layer to this as well, it wasn't just this officer that was having inappropriate engagements with her. It was also his twin brother and a third officer as well, who were all basically passing this young child around, holding this secret amongst each other. But when it came out, things went left. Okay? So on January the 20th, this friend had went there, and then the police employee had told Farwell directly that this young person had came and complained about this inappropriate relationship. Now, Sandra had, the day before her actual death, she had copied a key at Walmart. Okay, she copied a key for her apartment on January the 24th. She had gave Farwell a copy of her key. Okay, in order for him to get into the building. She then texts that he had looked through her closet and her bathroom, and he had now had access to her apartment, is what a witness had stated. Because keep in mind, she was already going to therapists. She was already talking to friends and family about this inappropriate relationship. And the reason why she felt the need to come forward and speak to them is because he began to take these fantasies into a very aggressive, very controlling type of way. Okay? And because he began to groom her at such a young age, she went along with it, not realizing that she was under his full control at this point. Okay? So she decided to go talk to a therapist, and she also alerted her friends, who the friend then went to the authorities about it. Okay? So on February the 1st of 2024, okay, this is the night that she actually passed away. At 5:01 p.m., there was a DoorDash delivery. And then at 5:33 p.m., she was last seen in a lobby area on camera. And then at 9:10 p.m., Sandra then texts Farwell, the officer, letting him know that the door is open. Because keep in mind, he was already on the way there, because he basically contacted her, basically saying, "What are you doing tonight? I'm coming over." But what the investigators are basically saying is that at that moment, he had already plotted what he wanted to do to her. Okay? After she told him that she was pregnant, and he said that he wanted her to die, he began to plan what he wanted to do to her. So the night before, when he went to the house, okay, he only went there to kind of see what things were positioned at and what he can do and how he can, commit a crime is what he came for on the day prior to her death. Now, on the day of her death, that's when she ordered the night the night that she died, I'm sorry. She had ordered DoorDash. He came to the home, and then he came through the lobbyway. He had on a hoodie as well as a mask. You could not see him, okay? Her phone, it was also locked for the last time at sometime around 9:18. And then at 9:40, the Apple Health log had also showed that there was 8 steps. So what it looked like was he actually took her phone, took 8 steps, and then turned the phone completely off so that they would not be able to track her or anything that was going on. Okay? He then proceeds to leave her building and walk out as if he didn't just leave her there deceased. Now, when it comes to the discovery, okay, on February the 4th is when she was discovered. There was, neighbors had requested that there be a welfare check at her home. Now, Sandra, she was found to be have a strap around her neck. Her apartment did show signs of some form of struggle, but there also was a glittered little gift that she made for him. And it said, "Congratulations, you are a father," and it had the ultrasound of the baby on it. And as you guys know, he was already angry about the baby because he has a wife, he has children, and he also have a career to protect. So in his mind, it's no, I know I told you and I groomed you to believe that you can keep this baby and I want to start a family with you. But in all actuality, I want nothing to do with you and I'm not willing to leave my family simply because you're pregnant. So he had to figure out a way to get rid of her. Okay. Now, the autopsy, it did show that there is no way that she would have been able to delete herself. She had fractured hyoid bone, which is consistent with strangulation. Okay. And then she was not seated in any form of way, not seated hanging or anything like that. There was a buckle print across her chest, and as well as there was some signs of suffocation that was in her eyes, a broken necklace that was also tangled within her hair, which showed a sign of struggle. And that's how the medical examiners deemed that there is no way that this could have been a self-deletion. So what it did was it allowed the investigators and the authorities to look deeper into this. Now, keep in mind, it was closed as a self-deletion for a while, but it wasn't until later, after they began to look deeper into this entire situation, that the outcome of the autopsy began to make a little bit more sense, pointing towards homicide. Okay. Now, on August of 2024, Farwell was then indicted. The reason why he was indicted, as I stated earlier, is because after her death, the whole self-deletion thing, first of all, never made sense. And then there was a call for a probe into the police department due to lies and things that was going on and cover-ups. Within that cover-up was her case, where they're basically saying, okay, well, we remember this case here and this case never made sense. So it caused them to dig a little bit deeper, and it landed them right into understanding that this wasn't a self-deletion. Okay. Now, the Internal Affairs had then found that there was 3 officers. Okay. You have this officer here, his twin brother, and there's a 3rd officer at will, that all 3 had exploited Sandra. And they found that all within this probe, and how they were covering it up, and how it was so many people that knew that these guys were having inappropriate relationships with this young lady. Now, the chief had called their behavior very much vile, and then the family, they never accepted the ruling of the self-deletion. They continued to apply pressure, and that's why we have the case that we have today against the officer. Now, her case, it does stand as right now preparing for trial. So they're still working through the ropes on how this all came to play out. Okay. Now, she was groomed as a child. She was pregnant at 23, and then it was staged as a self-deletion. Now, how they got in the midst of this is his own wrongdoing. First of all, sir, you thought that you was going to get away with this, and something tells me that because I seen the footage of her going down to the to open the door for you. Because it looks like that you came to her house, you wanted an extra key, and then you convinced her to make an extra key. You then went to her house. You walked around basically casing her apartment to see how can you dress this up as a self-deletion. You seen her in her closet. And that's when you found your route. But your route didn't make sense. It made sense for a short time when they considered her a self-deletion until it took a little bit more of a probe. As of right now, he's sitting behind bars, right? But this one case has kind of opened up a vote in Stoughton, Massachusetts, because what they have discovered with this one case is that this case is connected to so many other cases of cover-ups. Okay, this is one of the cases that could not be mentioned in prior cases that has happened out there in Massachusetts. I can't remember the main case that had just happened out there when it included officers and things of that nature. But this case was not even allowed to be mentioned in that case because those two cases come together, as some of the officers that worked this case also worked that case, and they all helped cover it up. So what they found that was going on out there in Stoughton is that there's a whole entire investigation that needs to be had. We have officers that are dealing with minors that are in this Explorer program. We have officers who is helping to cover up murder and assault and abuse and grooming and PDF file behavior. We have a lot of that going on here. Karen Reed, thank you so very much. Thank you. Yes. So this case here could not be mentioned in Karen Reed's case. And it's because a lot of the officers that's working Karen Reed's case, a lot of the officers that's working this case, a lot of officers, if you guys remember, when it came down to the 3 men that was found deceased. This one is another one here that also connected as well. A lot of these cases that happened out there, okay, have the same officers that's been doing the same crimes for decades and getting away with it. Getting completely away with it. Never standing to be able to say that you've been honest, you've been deceitful, you've been a liar, and you've been participating in PDF behavior. And what's sickening, okay, what's sickening is that this young girl wanted to be a police officer. She should have been able to trust you guys. We would think as parents that sending our child to the Explorers program was one of the safest events that we can send our children to. But unfortunately, out there in Stoughton, it's not so much because the predators are right there at the police force. And what's ridiculous is if I was the chief on this force, any officer that knew about this would be fired. Any officer that knew about this, did not mention this, prolonged the investigation. Any officer that at any point in time used the blue wall of silence to cover this up, you'll be fired. And if I could find charges to press, I would. Because that's ridiculous. You guys took the blue wall of silence to an ultimate level in this situation. This young girl had been getting victimized since 12 years old, impregnated by an officer who had one job, one duty, serve and protect. That's it. So how did serve and protect come to predatory behavior with your badge on? Not only were you doing predatory behavior with your badge on, but you were doing it while on duty on taxpayers' dollars, which is sickening. So while there's people dying, children being kidnapped, trafficked, drugs is out the roof, there's an officer in his car with a minor from the Explorers program. And what made you comfortable to even do this? It makes me feels like that you knew that you would be protected. That's what it makes it feel like to me. Because a person of sound mind would be afraid to do something that would jeopardize themselves like this. No way. You went into this knowing, and I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't more victims from the Explorer program. Because if there's 3 officers that was using this young girl and taking advantage of her, you guys got that comfort from somewhere. That's not a comfort that you just wake up and decide that you're going to partake in. You had to feel comfortable for some reason. Could it be that this is something that you all knew about and that you all participated in? Could this have been something that you guys simply held against each other? I.e., you remember what you did. Well, I'm doing this now, so don't forget. I know what you know, and you know what I know, so let's protect each other. That's disgusting. And now she has lost her life. And if it wasn't for a consistent family who applied pressure until pressure couldn't be applied no more, this man would have walked free along with his brother. And the third guy who took part as well. This young girl wasn't victimized once. She wasn't victimized twice. She was victimized 3 times under the same police organization. That is absolutely positively insane. This goes back to the well-known bias and the well-known secrets that you guys are dealing with in multiple police forces across the United States. And we don't pay out tax dollars for children to be victimized for children to be victimized from people in which we're supposed to trust. And you did this all with your badge on, by the way. You took your ill, sick, demented mind and you pushed it on a 12-year-old girl. Your own sadistic fantasies forced this young girl to believe that this was the right way. Gained control of her, earned her family's trust. Because who would think I gotta watch the police officer that's at my daughter's Explorers program? So this isn't a case where I can say, well, how did he get access to her? This isn't a case where I can say, well, why did the parents leave her with them? Because you wouldn't think that you got to watch a police officer with your 12-year-old daughter who has an interest to be a police officer. That's why. Show you what's really going on with a lot of police departments. That's what it does. Because I'm going to say it once and I'll say it again. This is not something that you wake up and just know that you're going to have comfort and protection at the same time. This is just not one of those type of situations. If there's 3 officers doing the same exact thing from the same police department, you're convincing me and you're going to lead me to believe that there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or more officers that's doing the same exact thing. They just haven't got caught yet. Because this is not something that you just wake up and decide to do. And then you not only wake up and decide to do, but something tells me that you officers were over there talking about this 12-year-old as if she was a grown woman. And that's how she ended up with 3 of y'all. I would have loved to hear the background music of what the heck y'all had to talk about this 12-year-old girl and how sick it was. I really hope some of that is caught on recording. Because the only way that any of you other officers would have even known that this was an opportunity if they were talking about it. That's the only way they would have known that this was an opportunity that can happen. Nasty self, nasty and perverted is what you guys are. You had one job, serve and protect, and you failed. All because you couldn't control your hormones and you impregnated a woman that you groomed since the age of 12. But you wanted to protect your family. You wanted to protect your family, protect your kids while killing someone else's child. And victimizing them, leaving them to suffer. in silence under the guise and protection of a police badge, which is ridiculous. Ill. So as of right now, we're still waiting for his trial. I've been covering and watching it, piece by piece. But you guys want to know the most craziest part? One of the most craziest parts, because this whole thing is crazy. You ready for this? Her baby was not his. So now this woman has died for nothing. She died a victim of your crazy, insane mindset. And you killed her because she was pregnant with which you thought was your baby. And the baby isn't even yours. All for you to cover up your perversion. Baby wasn't his. They did a test. And the prosecution say it's not about whether baby is his. It's the fact that he tried to cover up a whole pregnancy in grooming of a minor. So the paternity doesn't make any difference. We're talking murder here at this point. We know about the inappropriate relations that you had with her. But that murder, though, is what we're looking at you for, as well as the abuse in which you caused leading up to the murder. Because that's exactly what it is. It was abuse that you fixed up as, I don't know what you wanted it to be. Because I can only see it as perversion. Trust no one when it comes to children. Man, I swear, it's kind of crazy. Yeah. So this case here, guys, it's only, if we're talking the probe that's going on out there in Stoughton, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you're wondering why Karen Reed's case went the way it did, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the tip. There was an entire network of abusers. It was. This is just the tip of what these officers have done and the damage they have caused in this city, in this county. It's only the tip. And there's so many cases that had to be either looked over, re-examined, or questioned, connected to the same police department. And I'm going to say it once, and I said it once and I'll say it again. The only reason you guys did this is because there was a comfort in it. And you know that you would be protected. Simple. You can't tell on somebody when you're doing the same thing type of situation. And what's going on over there in Stoughton. Yeah. So I will. Hey, Jiggy. We got to keep our eyes on the kids. Yeah, I will keep you guys posted when the trial does happen. I have been watching this one very closely. I'm surprised a lot of people haven't really got much into what this case is all about, but it's crazy. I've read the documents for her, and reading some of those text messages, sickening. It will make your stomach turn. For real. And you guys know I've read documents after documents, but this one was kind of like one of the worst files that I had to read because it was so sickening. Like, it was just so sickening. You can see and feel how easy it was for those cops to stay in. Man. And when I say they were so comfortable in their lies, y'all, lie to you with a straight face, even though you know they lying. That's how comfortable they were. They were so comfortable that they knew we all have made mistakes in here. You can't tell on me and I can't tell on you. So we're going to keep doing the same thing. That's how they walked around. That was my perception of this police department. Unfortunately. Alrighty, guys, another great show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me today. I truly appreciate it. Tomorrow, okay, if you haven't done so already, we do have tomorrow's show already posted. Tomorrow we will be discussing Brian Potter's case. He was killed and they're alleging that it was by another football player. Okay, it's a case update. He died a while ago, but they just now made an arrest in regards to his death. So we're going to get into that tomorrow. Okay. Make sure that you guys do tune in tomorrow at 10 a.m. If you are new here, please make sure that you do subscribe, as I do cover new cases every single day. If you do want to follow me for more short form videos, you can follow me on YouTube here, but I also do TikTok. Savage Real TENT is my TikTok, where I do cover multitudes of other cases as well. There's some cases that are on YouTube that are not on TikTok and vice versa. So it's best that you follow me everywhere so that you don't miss anything. Okay. You guys have a great day. Thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in to True Crime with Savage Royalty.